Timeline of Saif al-Islam. Gaddafi's life and political role, 1972 to 1990s. Early life and education, born 25th of June, 1972, in Tripoli, Libya, second son of Muammar Gaddafi and Safia Farkash. Education, attended Al-Fateh University in Libya, later studied abroad and earned a PhD from the London School of Economics, LSE, in 2008. At LSE, his dissertation focused on civil society and global governance, part of his early positioning as a modernizer. 2000s, rising profile and diplomatic role, reformist image, began representing Libya internationally, seen as the West-facing reformist face of the regime, engaging on disarmament and diplomatic missions. Key negotiations helped negotiate Libya's abandonment of weapons of mass destruction programs, negotiated compensation deals for families of victims in the Lockerbie bombing and other international incidents, instrumental in securing the release of foreign medical workers detained in Libya during the 1990s. Although he was widely viewed as his father's heir, apparent and de facto second in command, he never held an official governmental office. 2011, civil war and turning point Arab Spring uprising. When anti-government protests erupted in Libya in early 2011, Saif al-Islam chose loyalty to his father's regime and helped lead the brutal offensive against dissent. Public speeches warned of rivers of blood if the revolt continued. ICC warrant. By mid-2011, he was placed on the International Criminal Court arrest warrant list for alleged crimes against humanity for his role in the crackdown. Capture. After Tripoli fell, he attempted to flee toward Niger, but was captured by a local militia and taken to Zintan in western Libya. Lottery. 2011 to 2017. Detention held by the Abu Bakr as-Siddiq battalion in Zintan, where he remained for about 6 years. In 2015, a court in Tripoli sentenced him to death in absentia for war crimes, though this sentence was not carried out. 2017 to 2021, release and political re-emergence released. In June 2017, under an amnesty granted by Eastern Libyan authorities. Though he kept a low profile, he was still wanted by the ICC for alleged crimes against humanity. In 2021, he publicly surfaced and attempted to run for the presidency, a controversial move that was initially rejected, then reinstated, but the elections ultimately did not take place. 2026, assassination, 3 February 2026, Saif al-Islam. Gaddafi was shot dead at his home in Zintan by unknown armed assailants. 4 masked gunmen reportedly stormed his residence and disabled surveillance before the killing, according to his political team. A national and international investigation has been launched, though no confirmed perpetrators or motivations are yet publicly identified. Breakdown of main theories on who might be responsible and why. Because investigators have not yet publicly identified the killers, what follows are the leading analytical theories circulating among analysts, local observers, and commentators, with context about why each might matter. None are confirmed at this stage. 1. Rival Libyan factions seeking to eliminate a political threat core idea. Militia groups or political competitors saw Saif as a potential successor or unifying figure for Gaddafi loyalists, and they may have wanted to remove that possibility. Why this matters? Saif was viewed as a symbolic alternative to both the Tripoli-based government and Khalifa Haftar's eastern forces. His bid for political relevance threatened entrenched interests that benefit from Libya's division. Removing him could prevent any future reemergence of a powerful third force that might disrupt the current balance of power. 2. Revenge or settling old scores. From the 2011 Civil War core idea, some militias or armed groups may have had grudges from the Civil War era, particularly given Saif's role in the violent crackdown on opposition. Why this matters? His loyalist stance in 2011 earned him fierce enemies among revolutionary fighters and certain tribes. Some armed factions might see eliminating him as retribution or closing a chapter of the conflict. 3. Foreign or proxy involvement, speculative domestic narratives. Core idea, unverified. Some commentators allege involvement by foreign intelligence services or external backers using local proxies to remove a figure seen as destabilizing or unpredictable, one who may likely unite Libya and stop war in Libya, which will cause lots of losses to people gaining from chaos in Libya. Why some bring it up? Libya's civil conflict has been heavily influenced by outside powers. For example, UAE, Turkey, Russia, EU states, backing local actors. Online speculation suggests foreign states might prefer a divided Libya where local actors are dependent on external support. These theories cite geopolitical interests tied to oil, military contracts, and regional influence, but they currently lack independent verification. Important, analysts treat these kinds of claims as speculative, not evidence-based at this point. 4. Internal power plays within pro-Gaddafi networks. Core idea, even among groups sympathetic to Gaddafi loyalism, internal disputes or strategic disagreements might have led to action against him. Why this matters? Some former loyalists may have diverged on strategy, whether to seek political integration, reconciliation, or continue resistance. Factional tensions could have triggered violence if they saw his leadership as a liability. What we know and don't know. Known, Saif al-Islam was killed violently with masked assailants and disabled security cameras. Unknown, no confirmed claim of responsibility or verified identity of perpetrators. Motives, still under investigation. A range of political, tribal, and strategic motives are being considered. Bottom line, Saif al-Islam. Gaddafi's life was defined by a dramatic arc, from internationally engaged reformist and heir apparent to a controversial wartime figure, prisoner, political hopeful, and finally, assassination target in a fractured Libya. The true motive and identity of those who killed him are still under investigation, but analysts point to local factional rivalries, unresolved civil war tensions, and strategic political calculations as the most plausible explanations given Libya's fractured post-2011 landscape. Libya has never been a normal state since 2011. Power rests on 4 overlapping pillars. 1. Tripoli-based authorities. Weak formal legitimacy. Depend on militias for survival. Recognized internationally, constantly negotiating their own existence. 2. Eastern Bloc. Haftar and allies. Militarize. Hierarchical controls. Large territory and oil infrastructure seeks international legitimacy, but lacks it fully. 3. Militias and local power centers. Zintan, Misrata, Tripoli militias, southern groups. Loyalty is transactional, not ideological. 4. Gaddafi loyalist, current fragmented but emotionally powerful, strong in parts of the south. Bani Walid, Sirte, tribal networks. Saif al-Islam was the only national symbol tying this current together. This 4th pillar is the key to understanding what changes now. Immediate political shock waves, 0 to 6 months. 1. Collapse of the third option. Saif represented something unique, not Tripoli, not Haftar, a symbolic alternative for people exhausted by both. With his death, that option dies with him. Millions of quiet supporters lose a political focal point. Effect: Libya's political field narrows again to 2 broken poles, increasing polarization. 2. Fragmentation of Gaddafi loyalists. Without Saif, no universally accepted leader, no unifying name or face, tribal loyalists revert to local survival politics. What happens instead? Some align with Haftar, pragmatic. Some drift toward Tripoli militias, transactional. Others retreat entirely from politics, disillusionment. This weakens any chance of a national reconciliation narrative. Medium-term shifts, 6 to 24 months. 3. Haftar likely gains. Quiet advantage even without formal expansion. Haftar becomes the default strongman alternative. Some former loyalist tribes may prefer his order over chaos, but this strengthens military rule, weakens civilian political evolution. Net effect: more stability in some regions, less legitimacy nationwide. Wasti 4. Tripoli government gains. But only superficially. Saif's death removes a symbolic challenger, a potential election wildcard. However, Tripoli still lacks real authority, still hostage to militias, still mistrusted by large parts of the population. So, they gain breathing room, not strength. 5. Elections become even less likely. Wolf was controversial, polarizing, but he forced the question of elections. Now, no pressure to resolve legitimacy. Elites benefit from delay. Status quo becomes more profitable. Libya risks entering a frozen chaos phase. Not war, not peace. International dimension. 6. Foreign powers prefer the outcome quietly. Most external actors feared Saif's unpredictability, did not know how to manage him, prefer familiar, controllable partners. His death simplifies diplomatic calculations, reinforces dependence on existing proxies. This does not mean foreign actors ordered the killing, but it means no one is rushing to disrupt the new equilibrium. Psychological and symbolic impact, under-discussed but huge. 7. End of the Gaddafi era. For real this time. Muammar Gaddafi's death in 2011 ended the regime. Saif's death ends the idea of return. That matters deeply in Libya, where politics is emotional, tribal, and historical. Possible outcomes: increased cynicism, youth disengagement, rise of purely local identities over national ones. This weakens nation-building even further. Area impact: Gaddafi loyalists. Fragmented, leaderless Tripoli authorities, safer, not stronger. Haftar, quiet strategic gain. Elections, further delayed national reconciliation, weakened foreign influence, more entrenched public hope. Reduced big picture takeaway. EEA, Saif al-Islam. Gaddafi's death does not create immediate chaos, but it removes one of the last symbols capable of reshaping Libya's political equation. Libya becomes more stable on the surface, more stagnant underneath, more dependent on militias and foreign backing, less likely to produce a unifying national project. It's the kind of change that looks calm, but quietly locks a country into limbo.